I remember looking over and seeing two Thai inmates in front of this guard who was holding a stick. The next minute, he's just smashed it down on the fingertips of this inmate. He's going smash, smash, smash. No emotion at all.
Horrific and disturbing conditions, human rights violations, and dangerous inmates.
A lot of the people in here will never see free air again.
The facility is feared not just in Thailand, but around the world.
Life in prison, I haven't got much life left anyway.
Just over 10 kilometers north of Bangkok sits one of the world's most infamous prisons. This is the story of Bangkok Central Prison. Founded in 1933, the facility was designed not as an ordinary prison, but as a place to house some of the worst offenders in Thailand. It has since become known as one of the harshest prisons in the world. Many die within the prison's walls each year, with sickness and violence commonplace.
They put prisoners in leg irons for their first 3 months, not to stop them escaping, but to stop them killing themselves.
Yeah, I got infections around my ankles and that. They took years for the scars to come off.
On arrival at the facility, all prisoners were traditionally required to wear leg irons for the first 3 months. Death row inmates are also housed at the facility and were required to have their leg irons permanently welded on.
There are serial killers and multiple rapists locked up here, but most prisoners are in for drug dealing offenses.
In 2003, the Thai government launched a war on the drug trade in Southeast Asia. A wave of killing followed, with thousands of people killed on the streets in extrajudicial attacks.
Where more than 2,000 drug traffickers were killed on the streets last year.
As well as the violence on the streets, the Thai government hands out harsh sentences for any involvement in illegal drugs.
The future wasn't in my hands. They give, life sentences and, the death sentence for drugs in Thailand.
If they're criminals and they do something really bad, they deserve to be executed.
Currently in Thailand, you can be sentenced to a year behind bars for possessing just a small amount of cannabis.
Because the quantity of drug found, he might get life imprisonment.
So minimum, if he's a caretaker, he may get life. If he is more involved, this man...
That be capital punishment.
Will die.
Dead.
In the street outside the prison, there's another warning. This sign shows 560 inmates face execution for drug offenses.
As for dealers and traffickers, the sentences can be unbelievable.
You don't know what you're getting. You're getting what, sometimes it goes from a year a pill.
Yeah.
You know that as well as me.
Oh, yeah.
148 pills, you're looking at 148 years.
Many who enter the prison, even those convicted of non-violent offenses, remain behind bars until their dying day. Many of the inmates have been sentenced to death for drug-related charges, with the prison usually housing about 500 death row inmates alongside the thousands completing a life sentence. The prison even houses an official executioner. A recent change to the method of execution could be seen as an attempt to modernize the prison.
Director General Nati then decided to change the system to lethal injection.
I come here to prepare the injections. When all the lights are on here and outside, the observers know that we've injected all 3 doses.
However, conditions inside the facility paint a very different picture. Originally built to house 3,000 to 4,000, Bangkok has become regularly filled with as many as 8,000 prisoners.
7,000 men are now packed into a prison built to hold around half that number.
Bangkok is severely overcrowded, with inmates sleeping on the floor in cells crammed with people.
It was just so crammed and there was just no space at all in there.
A former British inmate claims to have covered himself in toothpaste to encourage an outbreak of blisters. This earned him a few days in the hospital wing, complete with a bed. Overfilling prisons in Thailand has become commonplace as the war on drugs continues to generate more inmates.
You literally cannot lie flat on your back. Put your hands on your stomach. If you do that, your elbows are on two other beds. That's pretty damn close, and that's 15 hours a day.
There is approximately 1 warden inside the prison for every 20 prisoners in the average Thai facility, much lower than the UN standard of 1 warden for every 5 prisoners.
Compound 5 contains about 1,000 prisoners, but there are only 13 or 14 guards on duty. If the prisoners wanted to try something, there'd be nothing we could do about it.
Due to the cramped conditions, illness spreads quickly. Prisoners are locked in their cells for approximately 15 hours a day having just a small area for themselves to sit. As you can imagine, this often leads to tensions or violence. This is further exacerbated by the mental well-being of the prisoners. As you can imagine, the horrific conditions can lead not just to the irritability and stress, but to the severe mental health problems.
The lights stay on 24 hours a day. Thai officials have said 63% of prisoners have mental health problems.
Well, I'm sleeping next to a guy now. He just walks around all day, talking to his cell. I'm in the room next to him at night and I've seen a dog scratch less. Last night, he were itching that much, there must have been about 3 different places where he were bleeding from.
The facility is famous for housing numerous Western prisoners caught up in the Thai drugs trade. In 2012, a British man returned home after spending 18 years in the prison for drug-related charges. The 51-year-old was caught in 1994 attempting to smuggle £1 million worth of heroin out of Thailand. Another British man was arrested in 1990 for heroin charges that he denied. He was sentenced to death, but was pardoned and released after 17 years behind bars. Due to the unusually high number of Western prisoners, the facility has earned the nickname the Bangkok Hilton. As well as sharing with other inmates, Thai prisoners also share with hordes of insects and other pests. In these cramped and dirty conditions, you can imagine how quickly inmates become sick. However, if someone becomes ill in the night, they generally won't receive any medical attention until the next morning. Ventilation in the cells is also poor, with temperatures rising to unbearable levels inside the cells. The light remains on all night so that the guards have a better view of the prisoners. Many therefore find it difficult to sleep inside the prison, further adding to the irritability of the inmates. There's also no separation between inmates. Often those who are in prison for the most minor of offenses can find themselves sharing a cell with a murderer or sex offender. This also extends to those who are still on trial, meaning that just being suspected of a crime is enough to find yourself sleeping shoulder to shoulder with some of Thailand's most dangerous people. Activists say this breaches global prison standards.
During our time at the Bangkok Hilton, prison officer Pashrapon made sure we saw only what they wanted us to see.
Just a moment, would you please?
Some parts of the jail were strictly off limits, as was access to foreign prisoners, including 3 Australian women.
Unfortunately, despite pressure to improve conditions within Bangkok, the situation remains severe. For many years, journalists have attempted to paint an accurate picture of life in the prison, but the staff make it difficult to see the worst of what goes on inside.
You sit here and you tell me how terrible the conditions are here, but it doesn't look that bad.
You look beautiful too. Makeup, my dear, cosmetics, snow job. Why don't they let you come in the hellhole?
The prison grounds are approximately 79 acres, divided into 2 zones inside and outside the prison walls. It has 2 layers of walls, both built a meter underground and equipped with electric and barbed wire.
At the center of the prison is the standalone guard tower, which gives the guard a complete surrounding view of the prison.
The prison also has a women's section, which can often be as bad or as worse as the men's.
My friends convinced me to do it. I had no idea back then what I was doing. I kept delivering bags for them. I had no clue.
The British backpacker Judith Payne found herself locked up in Bangkok as a 21-year-old after police discovered drugs in her hostel room. She claims to have seen horrific violence during her short time behind bars. Payne describes how the other prisoners immediately tried to rob her once she entered the prison. She also claimed that there was great sexual pressure from female wardens against her and other inmates, as well as regular beatings and even a death from illness inside her cramped cell.
How many women are in this cell?
200.
200 women in here?
Yes.
How do they fit?
Yeah.
Violent and unfair treatment from the guards is reportedly common in both the male and female sections. Some reports claim that if a guard finds a mobile phone in the prison, they would punish the entire cell if no one took the responsibility. Solitary confinement is still used as punishment despite being officially banned by law. Prisoners found breaking rules risk finding themselves locked in a 5-foot by 7-foot cell for days at a time. Finding yourself in solitary confinement might be the worst way possible to spend your time. However, usual life in the regular prison cells isn't much better. The official daily schedule begins with breakfast at 6 a.m. Educational programs take place throughout the day with a break for lunch at 12. Dinner is served at 4:30 p.m., with lockup beginning an hour later. Work programs used to be commonplace to pass the time and earn money before being banned in 2013. These programs had become too profitable for the guards, who acted as middlemen to buyers outside. Generally, each day consists of 15 hours locked inside your cell. Without any means of earning money, the already financially divided prison has become even more unequal. Having money is extremely important inside the facility, as access to decent food and water is only possible with financial support. Inmates only receive one bowl of rice and vegetables for free. If an inmate desires better quality food, they must purchase and cook it for themselves.
I remember that first morning, I didn't even have a spoon. I didn't have a spoon, so you sharing, using other people's spoons.
Yeah.
You know.
Wealthier prisoners end up employing servants and cohorts who work for them to earn money and provisions. This internal class system is known as chit and has been a fundamental part of the prison's organization for decades. With such a high number of dealers and addicts inside Bangkok, a lucrative drugs market also exists, with narcotics available to those who have the means. Having money also gives you access to better health care, with only one doctor arriving several times a week to treat sick inmates.
Many prisoners have developed the full-blown AIDS virus.
I thought you had to die to go to hell, but hell is right here.
Insects, drugs, violence, overcrowding, malnutrition, inequality, and even death. Just some of the things you may experience inside the Kwang Central prison.
Everything that I'd heard about what these Thai prisons were like, it was true, and it was happening, in front of my eyes, and it's like your worst nightmare.
If you do ever find yourself in Thailand and are thinking about making some extra cash, remember to think back to this video before making any rash decisions.
The Thai people call Bangkok the Big Tiger. They say it eats men alive.
We hope you enjoyed today's video. Be sure to subscribe for more.